Well, hello, Carrie. It's a whole new time. What are we doing?
I don't know. So out of sorts.
It's so strange.
This morning, I was like, I don't even know what to do with myself.
Backpack show after dark. I mean, maybe people won't even remember that we did it. I forgot to tweet it back out that we're doing it this time. So I'll have to wait for a couple people to show up and say hi.
But we need success insights at 7 p.m. Eastern, just like we need them at 10 a.m. Eastern.
It's true. So we today, hang on, I'm typing at the same time to get more people. We have today one of my heroes, Hank Wasiak. Hank was a madman back in the madman days from McCann Erickson, one of the biggest firms in the world. And he left to join the farm a little bit later in his life. And so he's written a book about that.
A little bit later. He's been working for
5
decades.
years.
You're acting like
he's 5 years into his career.
no in between.
He's done so much. And I know Hank for a lot of reasons. He's done a lot of great things for the American Heart Association. He is a professor at USC and teaches a class or 2 or 6, I forget now, over there. It is crazy. We have the launch of our cryptocurrency. I think this is the first time we've been on screen to really talk about it in any detail.
We have a new sponsor.
We have a brand new sponsor for tonight. So that's pretty cool. And
that was like subliminal sponsorship.
Well, I know.
That's not like the official, right?
We're not doing the read yet, but we've got so many things. And at least for now, a new start song.
Hey, look who it is.
Hey, Michelle. Wow. How are you?
Lego serious play expert.
There's probably a Lego within 5 feet of me right here.
There's one behind this shiny black curtain I put up to commemorate our first ever After Dark.
No, I don't have my gold curtain set up. It's just sitting here.
Well, fine.
Because one of us prepares. Look, welcome to the Backpack Show.
Are you going to tell people's fortunes? I could. Or you look like you're going to star in the remake of Three's Company.
Wait, why do you look summer gorgeous?
Because everybody looks good in front of a black sequin curtain.
Look at my handsome looks here.
I know. I'm
sorry. We have a lot of stuff to do. I very much like my intro music. Very much. I listen to it a lot.
You always do.
By myself.
But listen, we have a guest waiting.
We do have a guest waiting.
And he's very interesting and smart.
Legend.
And the art behind him was done by a very accomplished artist who happens to be his son. So pay extra attention to the art.
So we're going to grab Professor also, Hank Wasiak, as well as...
Doesn't he have an Emmy or more than one?
I don't know. You have all kinds of awards, don't you?
Some. Not all kinds, just some.
Not displayed behind you, though, because behind you, son's artwork.
That's your son's artwork.
My son's Jason's artwork. It's very proud of that, very proud of him. He's done an awful lot. He lives up in the Bay Area, and then he moved out of the Bay Area to Sacramento. And he's a very talented artist. And like most artists, he is a free thinker and goes with the wind. So he's a really great guy, great young man. And I love him to death, just like my other 2 sons and my grandson.
Well, that says a lot about you right out of the gate, Hank, because a lot of people would put those trophies right up there.
Hey, look at that.
I do have 3 Emmys, though, that I'm not going to put up, but they were interesting. That's another story. I'll tell you about that.
Hank, this is Fazia Burke. We were just telling you.
We were just talking about Fazia.
Yeah. Love her.
Hey, Daniel. Hello from Brazil. Hank, where do you put them then? Where does an Emmy go?
Put them?
Like
a closet. It's on a shelf that is in just over to the left. I'm kind of confused. That way.
Okay.
And it's over there. And it's nice.
So you don't use them as like doorstops?
No, I don't.
At what point would you? Like you got 3. If you had 10, maybe? Another one.
10's a lot. But they were New York City Emmys, the second largest Emmy award in the States. Wow. And they were kind of cool. And they have a great story behind that, too. I'll tell you.
That's beautiful. Well, so you came out with a new book. You have some legendary books behind you. But, you decided, I think I'll throw another one out in the pile, So you did From Madman to Happy Farmer. Why did this book have to come out?
Well, I'll tell you why. It had to come out because about, I'll say maybe 10, 11, just about the time I met you, as a matter of fact, back in 2009, 2010. I was really, getting out of my quote career. I was with our company, the Concept Farm, and I had an urge to get back to teaching. I had taken about a 5-year hiatus from that. And we had recently published one of our asset-based thinking book for teens and tweens. And I just said, for the next, whatever I have left, I'm going to devote that to my mighty cause, my new mighty cause, which was going to be helping inspire and motivate next generation business people, particularly people interested in marketing, to get on the right track. I felt it was my time to give back, and that's what I wanted to do. So I went into teaching, dove in full-time with USC. And then as I was going through my classes, am I boring you now? Am I okay? As I was going through my classes.
He wouldn't have left you big if you were born.
I was going through a class, and one of my students, Izzy Sellon, said, hey, they call me Professor Hank. We have I'm doing a project where I have to interview someone that has interesting career, and I'd like to talk to you about it. So I started out talking to her about it for 15 minutes after class, and boom, it turned into an hour. And I just started to, all this stuff just started to bubble up, and it brought out a great emotion in me. And she said, hey, Professor Hank, why don't you tell the class about it? And I said, hell, why don't I write a book about it? So this young USC lady, gave me the kick in the butt to get me started, and I started it, and 18 months later, boom, there it is. And that
so
was
what percentage of the royalties will she be taking?
She won't be taking any, but by the way, any royalties I make are donated to the American Heart Association. So again, they've been another part of my give back now. So anybody wants to buy that book, whatever I make, and as Chris knows, you make millions of dollars.
Oh, yes.
Millions of dollars. Go to the Heart Association, which I've been a volunteer for them for the last 12 years.
Hank, true or false, you got into marketing in part because advertising is at the beginning of the alphabet when printed on forms.
That's true. That's the story, because I get a lot of discussion with students today, especially today, where I've got to pick my career. There's stress about everything. And what's my major? What's my courses? And that's important. I understand that. But I got into it in a really crazy way. And that was, I was given a choice basically to go to college or really continue a not so fun life as a rebellious teen. So I picked a college, and I happened to go to all Catholic grammar school and high schools. And a great Xaverian Brother Merrick, I'll never forget him, said, Hank, you got to go to college, but don't go to a Catholic college. You had enough of it, because you need to get a different perspective. So I did. I picked Pace College because it was downtown, and it was $40 a credit, and I knew I could afford that. So the first major was accounting. I said, that sucks. I don't want to go into that. There was advertising. I picked it, and boom, I got lucky. Kerry, I got lucky. It turned out to be what my calling should have been. I didn't know, because I had nobody to bounce that off of. I was the first person in my family, in all of my extended family, to go to college. So I didn't know. I picked it, and God bless us, it worked out to be frigging great.
Now, you made your bones at McCann Erickson, which is one of the fabled, legendary, big early guys.
I made my bones. I made my second set of bones at McCann.
Oh, well, right, because before was where again?
My first set of bones was an agency called Benton and Bowles, one of the classic, we used to call us white shoe P&G agencies, General Foods, all packaged goods agencies.
What did they pay at the time, like $100?
No, $100 a week. That was my salary. And it's funny how I got the job. I was putting out resumes my ideal job, what I wanted was to be a brand manager in a company, because that's what all my professors said you should be. So I put out resumes to P&G and GF and all that. And, kid from Brooklyn with a bachelor's in advertising wasn't going near that kind of program. So I sent a resume to P&G. They said, sorry, no thanks, but we're going to send your resume to one of our agencies, to two of our agencies, Gray Advertising and Benton and Bowles. So they sent it to Benton and Bowles. I received a call from B&B. They said, we'd like to talk to you. I came in, met a guy named Kent Krober, who is a really interesting man and had a big impact on me. They hired me and off I went. And that was it. $100 a week. And I had just gotten married, and about 11 months later, we had a kid. So that's how I had that was $100 a week.
You were like, I want to meet all the milestones and I don't want to wait.
That's true. That's true. So Benton and Bowles was really, I started out in the media department. I wanted to get into the account group, which was where all the AEs are, the Pete Campbells were. And so I pushed and shoved until I got into it. And I had some great mentors that really took me under their wings and did that. And then I started working, that enabled me to work with the creative teams, which was what I really wanted to do. Even though I wasn't a creative person, I really wanted to be around them because they're freaking crazy and they think differently. So I did. And one of my first assignments was Charmin toilet tissue, toilet paper. And I was involved early on with I didn't do any of the creative work, but I was on the early launch of Charmin, Please Don't Squeeze the Charmin, the Mr. Whipple campaign.
Wow.
And I saw that from the inside the bathroom out, so to speak. And I worked with a great creative director named Sid Lerner, who I met. He taught me the ropes, and he and I have been friends ever since. And I just had fantastic mentors. And that's what I tell students when they go out for a job. Yeah, salary is good. You want to know, is it going to look great on my resume? Is it the perfect job? Look for the people that you're going to be working with and the mentors. That's where, excuse the language, stuff happens. That's where you learn, at least earlier in your career. So that's how I got there. I did that. Then I got on what I call my anticipatory and impatient roller coaster. I just went from job to job to job. I couldn't wait to find out what the next job was. And that was at a time when the agency business really changed. It went to the creative revolution. So my next job was at the leading agency there was, Doyle Dane Bernbach. And, that was Bill Bernbach and that whole group of people. And it just progressed from there. And then eventually I wound up on the client side and back to the agency side. I was all over the place. So it was a very spotted career path. And I tell students, everything you do is a stepping stone. There's one stone here, there's one stone there. Some of them are sideways. Occasionally I got kicked in the head and took a step back, but it all keeps on going forward. So it was a checkered career that I loved and still love it.
From the outside, it's always seemed like that era of marketing was both glamorous, but also way more cutthroat. Were you kind of you started as a pretty tough guy yourself, and you've just kind of tempered yourself as you've learned things like Reiki and started helping out the American Heart Institute.
That was much later.
Yeah, exactly. My point is, you were a badass back then. Do you have that kind of background in those stories? Like, you did evil and killed somebody's account and knocked them under. I watched a lot of Mad Men when it was out. That's all I'm saying.
I didn't do, we were competitive as hell. We would do anything to get an account. I shouldn't say anything. It had to be kept within ethics and so on. That's something that I really learned that at a young age. But it's a highly competitive business. But the one thing I never did was screw any person or any mess around with any people. I always learned early on, you got to play it straight. And there's no time for, yes, be this in a meeting and then say something else when you got out of it. It just, that was instilled in you. And when I eventually went to McCann, they were famous for saying, the ad business is famous for stabbing you in the back. McCann was famous for stabbing you in the front. I mean, it was very, very upfront and tough. It was tough. And it was sometimes insensitive. And there are things that was it misogynistic? Yes. Was it were we drinking? Absolutely.
3 martini lunches.
all that. And it brought out the best and worst in some people. And I'm not ashamed to admit that there was many times it brought out the worst in me, but I also had some great friends and family, particularly family, that pulled me back from all the stuff I could have gotten into.
When I look at your banner on your side, I always love that it says 55 years of loving marketing, because then in my head, I'm like, and 6 that I hated it.
No, it isn't. And that's the joy of it for me. I really love this business. I loved it. I mean, I some of the jobs were crazy and the hours were nuts, but it is about 6 months after I was at Benton and Bowles in that first job, I knew this was it. I just absolutely knew it. So I've loved it, and I keep on. That's why I still work at it. We have our company, the Concept Farm, and my son and I helped found that company with my son and a few of his partners, and they're still going today as well. So I still love it and work at it all the time, and that's why I teach.
Kat says from marketing to Reiki seems like whiplash, but this is like a very gradual, decades-long transition.
Yes, the Reiki thing happened. I'll tell you how that happened. I was sent by McCann to London to be I was global head of a lot of their accounts. And one of the accounts we had was Nestle. So I was the head of global Nestle business. It was about $100 million in revenue for McCann. So I had to travel the globe. And they said, Hank, instead of being in LA, we're going to move you to London. I moved to London, spent 3 fantastic years there. But I traveled 60% of the time. We had a wonderful flat in Knightsbridge, and I was hardly ever there. So I traveled, and the road warrior stuff really caught up with me. And I found myself, a lot of my travel at that time was in Asia. And I found myself, burnt out. Am I going to go party? Or am I going to relax? Or what am I going to do? I went to a spa, and I found Reiki. And I liked it. It really relaxed me. Then I came back to London and found a Reiki master that took me under his wing, and I became a Reiki master practitioner and teacher. And now I'm a Reiki master teacher, even though I don't do much of that. But it changed my life. It was fantastic, relaxing, hands-on, healing, energy, vibes. So I did that. And by the way, you want to hear the story where I got the most rewards out of that? I always knew I wanted to do for myself, but I got a call from someone that was working with Ronald McDonald's house, and they were looking for people to come on in and work with their parents and the kids that were there. So I went to Ronald McDonald House, and for 2 years, I did Reiki on the parents and the kids. Talk about humbling, and talk about just bring you to your knees stuff. I mean, what they went through. You all see those St. Jude commercials, which really show you the reality of it. I saw that reality up front at Ronald McDonald House, and I just could not have been more in awe of everybody there and the patients and the kids. It was amazing.
Coach Woodard had a question. What's the big takeaway that you teach your students? There's probably more than one, but...
Yeah, there's a lot. But the first and foremost thing there's a couple. The first and foremost thing that I teach my students is the biggest enemy of great marketing is egomania. Leave your ego at the door, because you have to be receptive to ideas and big creative ideas. And the thing that I wouldn't have said 10 years ago, but I say now right up front, the consumer's in charge. It's not about you, the brand, the company anymore. It's about the customer. Chris, I quote you all the time. Serve, not sell. Serve, not sell. I lead off with that all the time. So those are the two big things that I say to them, and among others.
Great. There'll be no living with him after this. Thanks for that, Hank.
No, I do. Serve, not sell. You can't say it any better than that. 2 words.
Oh, thank you. So I have had the pleasure of speaking in your classroom back when people did that sort of thing, but also, via the remote devices a couple times. I don't understand why you have remote guests in when you're like the most successful guy in the whole world of marketing and advertising. It seems a little like inviting the White Stripes to play for the Rolling Stones. It's not.
No,
Seems backwards.
you are very kind, and my head is exploding with that. But you have to, because, man, 18 weeks of listening to me, and even though I do a lot of interactivity in the class, you just sometimes need a different point of view and different vibe and different feeling. So you need that. And I take a lot of things, and I'm serious in my class, but I lighten it up. It's, I don't, since I'm not an academic, I'm a practitioner that's been in academia for 40 years. I take it quite differently. So the students like that. And by the way, I will tell you, Chris's last Zoom in lecture that he did, and it's a great example of why I invite people. It was like watching a cross between Robin Williams do a TED Talk. Unbelievable. Chris was all over the place and just booming, but wouldn't stop. And the students got a taste of that, and they loved it. I mean, I was getting text messages from about all the time. And you brought that perspective. I don't have that perspective. You brought it from a different way. So it's different. And it's all about personal interaction. So I love that.
Kat says it's because he leaves his ego at the door, practices what he preaches.
Oh, that's very nice. Thank you very
Marilyn
much.
Zayford stopped in to say hi to you.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. My buddies. There she is.
Fazia says you're so cool. And Fazia would know because Fazia is very cool.
Thank you very much. And Marilyn and I have, you were the connection point, and Jeff Pulver and all those conferences were the connection point.
Oh, my gosh.
To our meeting. And
Jeff,
Jeff's
Jeff, the gift that keeps on giving. That's all I was going to say there.
Oh, man. You're not kidding. I'll tell you exactly how one thing happened. I got a text from a young woman named Sharon, who's a friend of Jeff's, who happens to be in the teaches some stuff in the engineering course, the digital course. So she wrote to me asking a totally different question. And I said, hey, I'm teaching a graduate course in internet marketing in the summer. Would you want to be a guest lecturer? Boom. She said yes, and there it is. So he is the gift that keeps on giving.
Wow.
No question about that.
Just imagine that. You have mastered the visual medium more than a lot of people have, Hank. For instance, as we showed up to the show today, you said, hey, can I show some pictures if I want?
Yeah, let me show you.
No one's ever said that.
Gotta make you big.
I'll tell you why I did that, because I felt we were moving into an age where video is the language. And you talk about that a lot. And we're moving into the age where if students don't know how to get in front of a freaking camera and express themselves and sell themselves, they're not going to excel, particularly in marketing, but particularly in any business. So what I said was, hey, let me just show a picture of where Chris was in my class, and I want you to see if you can date this picture. I'm going away. And you tell me.
Hank Wasiak.
When was that?
Judging by the size of my belly, that's probably 2009.
Just the beginning of 2010, and that was your book.
Social Media 101.
Social Media 101. So wow. Chris was there, and we had a ball together, and that started Chris is doing a lot of things in my class.
Is that your penmanship on that name sign? I don't know about
yes,
that.
It is. At that point, this was before this was in 2010, before they had the printed out name cards and all the students would
right. But I mean, students were taught to write Hank.
Yes. So Chris, Chris, that was Chris's name card.
That was me being stylistic. Look, if you look at it, there's like a nice little, hollow font at the left and a dark one at the right, and like.
I have terrible penmanship. So
me too. Awful.
I write like an 8th grade boy.
Mine's gotten worse over the years. That's all I'll say about that.
There's a lot.
I'll take that down so Kerry can't criticize you.
Aren't you adorable?
It was fun.
You've pointed out that you've been at it. You're the legend. I mean, you've been there for so long, and now you're here teaching a bunch of young people from both places. You're teaching them from where it all started, which I'm sure so many of them wouldn't have the opportunity to know if they didn't get the chance to speak with you. But I guess also that whole concept of you then have to blend like 60s and 70s era sensibilities into 2030 skills and all that. How do you enjoy and how do you prep for those challenges?
That's a good, that whole line. That's a great question. It is a great question, and that's exactly what I try to do. I try to blend those sensitivities, those human sensitivities, the core things that we all learned in marketing and grew up with and got more sophisticated with it. Like, yes, the consumer's the North Star. You need a brand positioning statement. Don't do a piece of creative until there's a creative brief. All those kinds of things that you learn how to do. And people forget today because it's about, I can do a TikTok video and screw all the other stuff because I don't need to have a foundation. So I put a lot of time into embedding that into the foundational parts of it. And then from there, I live in the moment. And I think you know this, and I know it even more importantly now. It is all about now in marketing today. It's not about yesterday. Yesterday is just past this prologue. That's all it is. You've got to be on your toes, always keeping fresh and ahead of the game, and that's a big challenge. So I think I that is why I still say I love marketing more than ever, because I didn't forget everything I learned, but I'm seeing it all from a different viewpoint and a different lens with some wisdom that these young folks don't necessarily have today. So that's what I try to give them.
So we have to thank a couple of sponsors, but you have an offer for everybody, and we haven't even talked about farming. So we just need a tiny second. Don't go anywhere. Stay right there.
But we got to do a little bit of ad read.
Do the housekeeping.
Mr. Mad Men.
We should get your professional opinion on Chris's advertising graphics.
You know what?
Yeah, no, you shouldn't. All right. Listen, we launched last Thursday our first ever cryptocurrency. We have a cryptocurrency called the Backpack Coin. People stick around because people who are here at the end of the show have an opportunity to get some free crypto coins. Now, part of this is one of our good friends, Kate Hogan, is a crypto person from all the way back. Kate has, the minute she heard of this, she ran right off the deep end, which never happens to Kate. She never, ever just runs right into things. So I just realized my parents aren't here, are they? But listen, Kate was the first one. She rushed forward. This is the first sponsorship of the Backpack Show paid by cryptocurrency. So here we go with this. Pre-search. So we're sponsored by Pre-search. Thank you, Kate. The decentralized search engine. Think about that just for a second. Think about the fact that Google, one of the most wealthy companies in the world, controls your ability to find what you want on the internet. Google has both sides of this coin. They make money on letting people find the website, and they make money on the incentive of making it harder for people to find your site. Pre-search isn't part of that little system. So do you want to protect your privacy? Do you want to earn crypto rewards just from searching? Do you want to end the search monopoly once and for all? Presearch.com.
I'm not a part of your system.
So there you go. That was one read. Hey, do you like podcasts? Don't like our face? Great. Go anywhere that there's a podcast. And we're hosted by Castos. You can look up the Backpack Show on the iTunes store. You could look at Google Play or whatever they call their podcasting. You could go to Spotify, Stitcher, which is my favorite. Anywhere there's podcasts. Castos.com. Peas in a podcast. Say, would you like a .online domain? I would. Those are very inexpensive. You can get them for $1 if you use the code Chris in all caps.
$1.
$1.
That's crazy.
$1 for 1 year anyway. I mean, here's the thing. I can't believe we're going to give away cryptocurrency today. So $1, cbrogan.me/online. That's how you do it. Hey, want to make a show like this? Don't talk to me, Chip. However, Chip, give me some crypto coins and I'll let you sponsor an episode or a week. cbrogan.me/StreamYard. You can make a show just like this, maybe better, I guess, but you can make a show just like this.
Bring your own Madman.
That's it. That's our ad reads.
That's all of them.
Hey, P Short's here. I missed you earlier. We've got to get in.
Don't encourage him, Carol.
I know. That was our ad reads. But like I said, we're going to give you cryptocurrency if you stay to the end, and I'll have to show you how to do it because it's a little bit.
And cryptocurrency, known in other parlance, is money.
We'll give you money. We're going to give you money to watch our show. That's new.
First, you want me to pay for an apple, and now you want me to pay for you to say my name?
Yes, I do.
Oh my gosh.
That's funny.
Every time I say Chip's name, I get some backpack coin.
The apple comes back to bite.
Brought to you by.
By the way, Fred Faulkner IV was one of the very early purchasers of crypto from the Backpack Show as well. So thank you, Fred.
I love Fred Faulkner IV.
Yeah, Fred Faulkner IV bought some from, I think, Monty and a couple other people, and we have this thing that's going on in our little creator coin community, which is we see people buy it that we recognize. We just send them extra coin. So it's like, you show up and you maybe spend $20 or something. We'll give you 50 more bucks worth of coin, and you go,
just
"What did I do?" Because we just feel good. We feel good that you felt good for us. So come get some coins.
So Hank, this is your email address I'm showing, and you have an offer for people also.
Yes, my offer is not cryptocurrency, but it's even better. It's for free. My offer, that's my email. My offer is to anyone that's listening. If they know anybody in the sweet spot for my book, which is young career starters, and people, maybe kids getting out of high school and going into college and graduating, or anybody that really would like to see what a career from the madman to today was, I will give you for free a digital copy of the book. So just send me an email. I will check it. I'll check the spam filters and make sure it all goes through. And I will get that. I'll gift you an email, a digital copy of the book through Amazon, with the one proviso that if I do that for you, that you pay it forward and do that for somebody else as well. And then because when you're doing, you're helping young people motivate and get off on the right foot, and you're donating to the American Heart Association, and you're making me feel good. So
if you're listening to the audio version of this, courtesy of Castos.com, wisdom, the number 3 at mac.com.
And oh my gosh, Bond is here. Bond. Okay, listen up. Hank, we forgot to thank one other sponsor.
Hank, we forgot to thank
another sponsor.
Guests of the show stay at the inconveniently located from downtown or anywhere, never to be confused with luxurious and never updated FDR Hotel, located somewhere off Highway 84 near an old gas station with a burned out van parked out front with a for sale sign.
Putting the F in accommodation.
I think that we have a perfect spot for that in Palm Springs, by the way, which is where I am.
Palm Springs. Oh, so you're one of Tony Robbins' neighbors. That's the only other guy I know who lives there. That's all I can say.
I don't know anyone who lives there. Congratulations to you both.
I flew out there the one time.
Get a lot of farming done in Palm Springs. Tell me about this.
Are you kidding? Of course.
No. What can you grow there?
You can't grow anything in cactus. You grow a lot of cactus, and there's been an awful lot of marijuana being put up, not grown, but in warehouses out here, and that's just exploded out here. The whole cannabis world.
It's quite an industry. There's a lot there. Boy, they could use your books. Oh my golly, they're doing the worst job marketing to the people that they could be bringing into this world, as opposed to the early consumers of the product.
Yeah, we at the Concept Farm, we had up until about 2 years ago, we had a cannabis company that we were there helping them position things, and we were doing it very responsibly.
Cool.
Then, and I wasn't that much involved in it. Somebody came in and bought it, and all of a sudden, all the positivity and things that we were doing it, off the charts. It went away. We were trying to do the responsible stuff. So,
right.
That's what happens. That's what happens.
Crazy how it gets done, really. All right. So we have about 8,000.
When I first started in the Madman era, I tell everybody that was the beginning of pot smoking in business. I mean, that was it. When I got there in 65, 66, and you see all those cigarette commercials, we were smoking a lot different things than Lucky Strikes. So that was the era, and then that rolled into the 70s. So
that explains so much about some of those
Which
jingles.
we eventually got to cocaine at some point, but for a little while.
oh yeah, that was the 70s and 80s. Don't get me started on that one, because
Do you even remember that, Hank?
there were some things that I don't remember. That was a tough period.
But you know what they say about that? Not there's a lot of people who deal with addictions, and that's a whole different matter. But there are people, like, for instance, for depression, I take ketamine, which is also used as a street drug. But they're also talking about that with psilocybin, with magic mushrooms. And one of the things they say is that one thing magic mushrooms do is it slows down your reaction to outside inputs, but speeds up your ability to choose to process things. So it allows you this kind of crazy disproportionate, it like changes the way your brain operates for some duration of time. I imagine that a lot of what they were saying about that era of, pot and cocaine and everything, that was some of the creativity. So some plop, plop, fizz, fizz might have started with something up the nose beforehand.
Yeah. The creative team that did that, Roy Grace and Evan Stark, they did I Can't Believe I Ate the Whole Thing for Alka-Seltzer, was the creative team that I worked with on Gillette and Schick. So, hey, by the way, can I do something that may be a little bit
anything
uncomfortable? But one of the things a chapter in my book that I had read was about in 1995. And, you talked about me being a badass and, macho, all that stuff. You're right. I did that. And you put, you didn't give in. When I went back into the advertising business in 95, I had a very, very big bout with anxiety, depression, and all. And it brought me to my knees. And I still had to work and do my job. Fortunately, my family, medication, counseling got me through that. And I'm still there today. And I told the story in the book because I'd never told it before because of you, Chris. Get a little bit of emotional about that because you told that story to your audience, and it inspired me to say, why not? Share it because I can't tell you, I've got in this semester, given COVID, and I have Zoom office hours, I've had at least 10 discussions with students that were on the verge. And they're reluctant to go to counseling, and USC has a tremendous counseling program. And I went right to that chapter in the book and I said, read it and reach out to me if ever you want to. But that, I think that's an important thing to let people know, especially young people today. They've got to reach out and seek help. They really do. And you did it and still do when you talk about it.
The support for sure is the secret weapon for that. Couple questions rolled in. Well, from Elizabeth, I guess it's a two-parter slide-wise. What do you think of all the social good marketing like Warby Parker and Tom's, that sort of thing? You probably hate it.
Oh, you hush your mouth. Don't put words in his mouth.
No, I love I love and hate social good marketing. And the Tom's, well-intentioned, and I think it was well-intentioned at the beginning, buy one, get one, give one, and the unintended consequences that screwed up some economies, right? Then you have the Bombas socks, they're giving things away. It's all good. I think it's all good. My problem today is that purpose, and it's called purpose-driven marketing in the marketing parlance. Social good is that it is going awry. And I have a very strong point of view about it. And I have examples. And I believe that the best purpose-driven marketing flows seamlessly from the brand ethos, from the mission, from the higher values. You are sincere about that. You then latch on to the cause that you want to have, and then you live it every day. And that is the only way to do it, in my opinion. Unfortunately, today, brands are latching on to causes because it's the meme of the moment.
Right.
And hey, maybe I can retrofit it back, etc. And it's bullshit. It's the wrong way to do it. Mm-hmm. And I get a lot of pushback in my class for it, but I talk to them about it. I say, hey, when you do this in the right way, you must have a brand awakening, not a brand awokening. And it is totally different, man. It is totally different. And I have some good examples about that. One that I took great exception to and really got to me as a marketer and as a customer was Gillette. The Gillette, the best a man can be campaign. Toxic masculinity, all men are assholes, and we got to do better, et cetera, and attach themselves to the Me Too movement. It was one of the worst marketing moves I've ever seen, in my opinion. And I had a great discussion with the students in my class to the point where we all came around to a point of view. And they said, if you feel that strongly about it, why don't you tell P&G about it? So I did a video. I did about a 7 or 8 minute video on why the Gillette campaign, offended me, got me to give up a brand I've been using for 40 years, and how I used it as a teaching moment in my class. Then I rewrote the creative brief that they did for Gillette, which is, if you rewrite the creative brief, it's fantastic. It's aspirational. It's up. It's terrific. And you look at the execution, it's dark. It's dour. It's awful. And what brands and companies have got to realize is you go to the light side, not the dark side. I believe in that passionately. That positivity always beats negativity and the memes of the moment and punching people in the face, all that. Don't do it. Go to the bright side and you'll be a success longer term. Because in our, the asset-based thinking series, Chris, that you promote, is in all the research that my beloved partner, Kathy Kramer, did on that. Negativity may get short-term bumps, but it never, ever changes behavior and awareness. You have to give hope. You have to give positive reflections, and that'll win all the time. It's not in vogue today, but I believe it's important.
I don't disagree with you there. That's a good example too, Gillette. One of the other ones I've seen is that Burger King seems to pick different causes every couple of weeks to see what's going to catch or not. And to your point, doesn't really work. I think there was you were in London for a couple of years. There was a marketer over there named Poppins, I think. She said just a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go, Hank.
That's true.
Here we go.
That's true. That's true. By the way, on the positive side of that, I contrast that with Dove. And I think Dove is a brand that's doing it right. It flows seamlessly from their purpose. They may reinvent the way they do it sometimes, but it's really worked well. And another great example of that is it's very boring, but Dawn dishwasher detergent, their purpose for the last 20 years has been cleaning wildlife that have been affected by oil spills, because Dawn is the best grease cutter and it's gentle on your hands. Can't get any tighter than that. And they've stayed with that consistently. They change it to reflect what is going on at the particular time. But that's a great brand purpose. Not very sexy, not very up in the sky, but it works. So it's a favorite topic of mine, Chris. Brand purpose done right.
We just had Dr. Rebecca Swift from Getty Images on the show, and they were involved with Dove in their, is it Show Me or
Show Us? Yep.
Show Us.
Show Us, yeah.
So that they could show women in a completely different light than you would typically see in advertising or even stock photography and stuff like that.
You're right. I saw that. I watched that episode to see what I was in store for. She was
what you're in for.
She was terrific. And also, that Dove has been doing that for the first time I showed Dove in my class was back in 2010 when they did the portraits and things. So they've been consistent with it. They get a little more edgy with it today. Like things like, Unilever's taking out the word normal off their packaging and so on, which I think is a good move. I don't think it shouldn't offend anybody. There are people that get offended by it, but it fits, and it fits with their brands, and it fits with Dove. So why not? We have bigger things to worry about than whether or not normal is on a package or not. I mean, it's kind of crazy, but they did it in the right way.
Just hopping back to show Kat's comment, because you were on a different topic by then, but removing the stigma around any type of anxiety and depression and being open about our own struggles helps others conquer shame. I think that was an important point.
Thank you, Kat. I really agree with you. And by the way, I didn't do a shout out when you mentioned your cryptocurrency to my old buddy, Kate. If anybody was going to do that, it would be her. So,
of course.
Good thumbs up to Kate for doing that. Where were you when I needed you about 5 years ago?
Probably eager to tell you about it.
Yeah, tell me about it. Right.
She's got the energy, that's for sure. Well, speaking of, that's a good time to do. Let's do a real quick thing to show you about how we're going to give away a little bit of cryptocurrency, and then we're going to come back and we're going to reshare Hank's really generous offer, and then we're going to talk about what he's learned and what goes in the backpack. So the company we're doing this project with, the way that we launched our cryptocurrency is with a company called Rally, RALLY.io. Let's start this out by saying that you can make an account on Rally for free, just rally.io. And you need an account for us to send you crypto. That kind of makes sense if you think about it. But you need to make an account. So go to rally.io. I don't think you don't have to tie anything to it. You don't have to tie your bank to it. It's just you and your account. So rally.io, make an account. And then the way that works is when you go into this account, I wonder if this is, I think I have it logged in. Please, baby, please. So when you get into it, there's all different kinds of accounts that you can get. And this is the backpack coin. So the backpack coin, we're going to send it to you. So you don't have to remember this now, but there's a whole collection of creator coins. If you click Discover Creator Coins, there's all different kinds of people. And you can see what somebody's coin's worth and whatnot, and how much of that coin has been out there, getting some loving in the world.
So for us to send you some coin, though, we need to know your Rally ID, if that's at Kate, or if that's your Twitch ID or whatever. Like, we need to know. Oh,
she got just Kate, and it's her Rally. I've already sent Kate some. But yeah, just stick your Rally account name in that sidebar comment section wherever you are on the earth.
If you want to, or if you'd rather email me, it's Carrie@chrisbrogan.com.
Yep. So,
but people can only give you money if you put if you send it to Rally. Yeah, they can't take it away from you. So
yeah. If somebody has your account name, the best they can do is send you some.
Yeah, right. Please don't send me money.
Right. So one thing to know is that it's cryptocurrency. It is completely volatile. I have seen the value of our coin, like our stock of the coin. I've seen the value go up 30% and down 30%. Within a couple of days of each other.
But also, we just want to give you a little, so it doesn't matter.
But we just want to send it to you just to have it. You just hold on to it. You don't even have to do anything with it if you don't want. However, as we keep going on with the show, we're adding new perks to the show. You can come backstage. So if you wanted to see the before, the during, and the after of what's going on with Hank, you could be backstage. You can watch our stupidity, our shenanigans, our dropping things, our having to change things. It's all there on display for just 10 coins. If you want to sponsor the show like Kate did, that cost her for an entire week. Kate spent just 50 of the coins to do it. So it's a really fast, easy way to do it.
It's better than sausage.
Better than sausage.
Oh, I had it with so much sausage.
That sausage was so fun. But so there you go. So Pre-Search is sponsored through crypto. And it just works. It just works.
That's the thing. I promise you, I would never have bothered trying to figure out Ethereum or Bitcoin or whatever the other ones. I just wouldn't have done it. So this is like a walled garden within which normal people like myself can participate.
It's like trading wheels too. It's a lot like trading wheels because it's not the big wide out blockchain world yet. It's just this little corner. That's what they call a side chain. And the Rally coin kind of bridges the both places. And that's all you have to know. So rally.io, make an account. I think we're done talking about that. So anyone who's here right now, I got to give some to Kate. I got to give some to Carol. I think that's the only two people.
Should give them a code word so we know they were here right now.
Yeah.
Well, rutabaga.
Just jotting them down. Rutabaga. Your code is rutabaga.
But Hank, your offer as well. So let's make sure
go
everybody knows.
Okay, good.
Send email to wisdom.
Email me and do that. I'm going to get on.
3.
I'm going to get on Rally.io. I'd be really interested in it.
Come get some.
So wisdom3 at mac.com.
I bought Bitcoin and Ethereum about 4 years ago, and it's somewhere on a hard digital wallet. I don't have a ton of it, but
we'll never hear from you again.
I think when I bought Bitcoin,
You'll retire.
It was $200 or something. So I got to find it. And my son Jason, who did that artwork in the back, is helping me do that.
Your son Jason's going to abscond with it to Bora Bora.
Yeah, he's doing that.
Related to that, and these are kind of rare and far between stories. There's two stories that people like to tell a lot. One is they tried to get somebody to take Bitcoin for a pizza way back early on, and they gave him like 20 Bitcoin way back in the day. So if that person's held on to that, that's 20 times 58,000 right now. That's one really expensive pizza.
That's a big tip.
Yes.
Wow.
Elizabeth, you got to tell us your account name, otherwise I won't know where to send you the.
Like what your rally ID
name rally
is, so we
name
can
is.
Give you money. So Kate says you could get Hank coin.
Yeah, they don't have a Hank yet. They have a Shank, but no.
I'm going to get there. I'm going to get on there later on and
Isn't
do
it weird? The ones that start with S, I always want to be like
Shank.
Shank.
And then the other coin thing I just saw, there's a lot of news about Dogecoin, which was made just to be funny. It's totally a joke coin. It was made to be
because people love
silly.
joke stuff like Bodie McBoatface.
And people are making it valuable just by sheer force of will. Humans are just pushing and pushing and pushing. It shouldn't be worth a dime, and it is. Oh, Carrie, will you write those names down, maybe, if you're willing?
By the way, my son Jason told me about 2 weeks ago about buying Dogecoin. He bought some. Yeah. And I didn't, and he's, not a lot. He doesn't have a lot, but he quadrupled his money in about a week.
Okay. See how that goes?
Yeah.
Well, so there's a fella, speaking of that exact story, I just saw this an hour before our show. Somebody found a Dogecoin hard wallet, like you were talking about, that he bought when it launched. He had 2-something million coins or $2-something million. Yeah. And of course, it's up to like $2 or $3. He just cashed out a couple of $1 million. He's putting it into a financial planner. And they're going to manage it. And they're saying he can pretty much, it'll be his salary for the rest of his life. He basically can have like a $85K a year salary off of that coin.
Good for him.
That is not a prediction.
No, please.
Oh,
you could probably, but
Harold has Dogecoin on Katrina's left.
If I've missed anybody, like just in case, Carrie@chrisbrogan.com and tell me your rally ID after the show, and use the code word rutabaga. Janice.
And because Carrie's the co-producer and co-founder of the show and co-everything and my consigliere and my lawyer and everything, please bear in mind I didn't say will you take notes, because I can't take notes. I'm a note taker. I will
trying to fend off me being mad at you later.
I don't want you to yell at me.
No, the thing is, I have told Chris important things multiple times, and they just don't take root. So, so we've learned this.
All right, Hank Wasiak, we're back to you, and we're getting ready to say goodbye. But what I want to know is, as you keep moving forward, as you keep working on legacy work now, you're working on heart association stuff, you're working on professorial stuff, and we've seen your penmanship.
Mine is terrible too. It's pretty bad.
You're working on all this stuff to kind of really plan for the future. What's the energy we need to take out of today? What do we need to take with us to our next journey that you have a whole crowd of people waiting to hear right now?
Well, I think, to me, the energy is just the belief in the power of positivity in marketing. And, I'm very, very focused on that in terms of what I'm trying to get across, and the energy that I think I can give you, that I discovered 10, 12 years ago, is live your legacy now. Don't worry about leaving a legacy. Live your legacy now and give it back every day, and you get more than you're going to get in return. And the other thing too is, and I really try to emphasize this with students, is don't let where you come from dictate where you go. Because it's just and that is whether you come from the right side of the tracks, the wrong side of the tracks, a lot of money, no money, don't let that happen. I'll show you something that I put in that chapter about that you would love to see.
Invisible.
This is a picture of me and my best friend Tom in 1957 in Brooklyn, and then we had our picture taken together again in 1960. But that's, we were both
At the age of 60, not 1960. That would have
At
been
the
3
age
years
of
in the ad business, did a lot
at
of
the age of
damage.
60. So, though we both made our way where a lot of our friends didn't make it. We did because we didn't let where we come from dictate where we were going to go.
That's nice. It's a biggie. All right, we've come to this part of the show. I cannot believe we went through quite a bit here. We got a lot covered, but it's this time.
Oh, and here's our person of the day. Kaboom!
So I think we'll send a little extra coin to person of the day today, don't you think?
Yes, I do. It's so much better than an apple that they have to purchase themselves and then wash thoroughly prior to eating.
I'm going to give it to Kate. I'm going to give it to Kate for being a really active participant in this conversation, also for being the sponsor. She'll make her sponsorship for the week money back right now. So thanks, Kate. It's weird how advertising works. I just gave her back her money. I don't think that's how we're supposed to do it. Heck, I want to read your book. Hey, Brian. Brian came by. Who knew?
Yeah, my son, my oldest son.
Brian.
The artist, or you have more?
No, he's the actor and filmmaker.
Yeah, he's
and the oldest guy. Great dad.
We're gonna have to have a whole episode with nobody but your family on this show.
That would be good. I'd love to do that.
We should do it
on that one.
Fantastic. All right. Chip had asked a question. Chip had asked the question of, hey, what would your grandmother have said about crypto coin? I had to think about that for a minute because I don't know that she'd be especially down with it. She was a very practical person, but she was sometimes privy to a few different vulnerabilities.
Greg says, "Don't forget the middle son."
Don't forget your middle son.
Hey, Greg, Greg is the concept farm son. That's right.
You're like the actor,
okay.
the filmmaker, and the artist, and the other one.
And he's the copywriter and creative genius.
I want them all on. All of them.
They get that from their mother, not from me.
Well, Greg, I need a sales page. Call me. So I'm talking about my grandmother now because she would say something about cryptocurrency and it would be this.